Okay, so clearly I've got some explaining to do. Let's get you guys up to speed. So what happened right after we had gotten the post set is we were progressing to meet our goal to do the big reveal of the Shark Tank, which we all know is a treehouse, to the boys on Christmas. But what happened was weather. We had a lot of cold days, we had even more wet days, and wet and cold made it hard to work, but it made it impossible to have the camera set up to catch the footage of what we needed to do to be able to have something to show them on Christmas morning. I felt like having that to show them was more important than getting the footage. Also, I really felt like the footage of the stuff that we were doing, which is, you know, we picked up after setting the beams and notching them, you know, the band, the subfloors, the floor joists, the framing, the roof, and the siding, well, at least some of the siding. It seems like a lot, but there's really a lot more to this project. And honestly, I think some of the cooler stuff about this is the stuff that we haven't even gotten to. You know, once we have gotten the rest of the siding on and we've done some trim out, you know, putting in a slide, we're going to be putting in a zip line. I'm going to be doing some hidden compartments. You know, another aspect of this I really wanted to include the three little boys in deciding some design ideas, so that way they could feel like they contributed to the overall project and they really had some ownership in it. Plus, they're going to be able now to come out and help me actually do some work on it now that they actually know what it is. So you can see behind me, we've got the floors in. Obviously it's up on stilts, everything is very much secured, bracings in. We've got it, 3 of the sides are sided. We went ahead and framed out the roof. I actually did have a friend who has a roofing company come right before Christmas. His crew was able to knock out putting the roof on like in a morning. They literally came out and had it done in a few hours. So like I said, I feel like the really exciting stuff's about to happen. You know, it kind of stinks that we didn't get any footage of the framing and all that going together, but I had to make a decision, and this is where we're at. So let's pick it back up and let's finish this tree house and see some of the cool stuff we got planned. Okay, so here's the framing up underneath the house. You know, this is the porch with the short 4-foot runs. That's the main building, the actual tree house itself. It's essentially 16 foot, but it's split up into 2 8-foot runs. Let's take a quick walk around the back. You know, we've got just a simple roof line with a foot overhang. You know, the back's right there. Let's go up inside and we can take a look at the framing and go over some of the stuff on the inside. As far as the framing, we just did like a traditional framing, 16-inch centers, headers above windows and doors. It's not complicated. I actually had to have Noah come help me because I'm not really that proficient at framing. I'm good at helping people frame because I know how to run a nail gun and a saw and be a cut man. But as far as like the methods and the measurements and headers and all those requirements, I've done it a lot, but I've always had someone who knew for sure what they were doing because they were actual framers. You know, a lot of my brothers were framers for jobs, and I was always a finish carpenter, so I've never really learned. I did pay more attention this time around because I wanted to really hone my framing skills so I could frame something like this by myself without having to have someone help me. I don't think I'm quite there yet, but I definitely picked up a lot more information as far as like, you know, purposely retaining it so I could try and reuse it later down the road, because I'm probably going to be building a few more structures like this in this shape for the farm anyways. This is the back wall, so that's going to be towards the driveway. There's actually no house wrap, so this side right here, you can see it's got that white house wrap on it. So I kind of got a little overzealous. I started getting excited about putting the siding up, and we started siding the back. As I was starting to think about it, I was thinking about moisture getting onto untreated wood. It's not going to be a lot, but if the wind's coming in on a storm and it's coming in sideways, there is a chance that water could be hitting the side of the building. Most likely not on the back, but definitely on the front and on, I guess this would be the east side is where we seem to get a lot of wind from. Went ahead and finished siding the back without the house wrap. I hope I don't come to regret that, but we had already gotten it almost all the way done, and I wasn't willing to knock all those pieces off, knock the nails out, and redo it. So I kind of just weighed my options and thought, you know, I'm going to do some other things to try and seal that up. Time will tell. But as far as the front, especially where the windows are and the sides, you know, as they were finishing that and making some other adjustments on stuff, I ran into the hardware store and got some house wrap. So we've got the 3 sides that I think are going to be the most exposed to moisture wrapped, and we got the windows zip tape. Zip tape is like really stretchy, sealable roll of tape. This stuff is pretty good. So we actually use this to zip tape all the windows so that way moisture runs off of them, especially on the front. So all the untreated wood I think is going to be fine. There's a window with the zip tape running around it, and that's going to seal off all that. So when we run the cypress siding up against it, even if water's hitting the front, it should all just, if it gets through the boards, it's just going to hit this house wrap and that zip tape and just run off to the bottom and then run out the bottom. There's actually a tip and trick that I'm trying for the first time on the deck that my friend James recommended, and makes a lot of sense, and I think it's going to be a good decision. It's probably how I'll do it moving forward on anything like this. But let me show you. It's actually using the zip tape in a way that I didn't think to use it for. Those are the floor joists for the porch, and that's the composite decking we're putting down. If you see, I've got zip tape running on the top of all the floor joists and all the seams, you know, the band on the outside. Now the reason for that is decking boards for porches and stuff, you know, there's gaps between them to let water run through. Eventually treated lumber will fall apart. But this should actually increase the longevity of the lumber because it's protecting the flat side that's most exposed to water. All right, so we're going to try and knock out at least some of the front siding. We will definitely get some footage of that because it's a beautiful day. It's a little chilly, but it's a beautiful day to work. The type of siding that we're doing is called board and batten. It's vertical board, so I did my traditional framing. I ran 1x4s horizontally to give us something to nail the vertical siding to. So we're going to basically nail these 1x8 cypress boards vertically, stacking them up, and then wherever there's a seam where two boards are touching, well, essentially you've got a bunch of 1x4 cypress that will rip down to 2 inches, and we'll nail those up on the seams. And what that does is, you know, where the two boards are meeting, the two siding boards, you know, as time goes on and water gets either increasing or decreasing, those gaps are going to change, but that batten board literally comes down and seals over the front of that. So even as this is expanding and the batten board's expanding, it basically seals everything off. I also think it looks pretty cool. It's a very old style of siding a building. You'll see it a lot in older barns, even older houses. Really like that we got this cypress wood because it's naturally water resistant, it's naturally bug resistant, and I actually like cypress more than cedar. I like the coloring. You can stain it. It's kind of like a white wood, but it's got a lot of cool character and knots and stuff to it because it grows in a swamp. So I've really loved cypress, and we've got a solid source close to here to be able to get as much of this, what they call thirds. So the, you know, first is your top quality, second is a little blemish, thirds are really stuff that they can't sell per board foot, and so we buy it in bundles and we just kind of get whatever we get. I love buying stuff like that. It's like super affordable. We've got a ton of cypress now to use on all kinds of different things, fences and other outbuildings, the smokehouse, things like that, and especially for this treehouse project. All right, well that finishes up the primary part of the board and batten siding. Obviously we still have to do the batten part. I've got to do a lot of trim work, but that's going to do it for this video. We covered a lot of information. We didn't cover everything that I'd hoped to, but there's definitely some tips and tricks in here, and y'all got the gist of the beginning of this project. Like I said, I think the more exciting parts are yet to come. The slide, the zip line, and the other stuff, you know, pertaining to the treehouse is stuff that I've never done before. Also, you know, we got a lot of trim work, which is something that I feel really confident in. So I'm really excited to kind of just share how I do that kind of stuff, how I solve those kinds of problems. I love trim work. But anyways, I just wanted to say thank you. Thanks for coming on this journey with Miah's workshop. And I'm looking forward to all the different stuff we're going to get into and the problems we're going to solve.